I wanted to give a little update on the TOBSD. We did a little fabrication today. If you remember, the rudder stuck out like 3 feet behind the hull. I shortened it up as short as I could get it with that rudder and that mount. So this is what it looks like now. And I got the stingers off at the moment. Slide them in, give you an idea of what it's going to look like. So I'm in the process of stripping this boat down, and I got a little sidetracked and a little distracted and decided to fabricate the rudder, but we're going to strip it down for paint. And got the stingers off, got the flex shafts out. If you remember, I was having trouble getting the flex shafts out, but we shortened up. We took where are we? We took off that much off the rudder, so probably almost a ½ an inch off the rudder, and it tucked it up nice underneath the overhang there. So I can live with that. Right now I have some black oxide screws in there. They're gonna have to come out, and stainless is gonna have to go in there, but that's all I had to mock it up right now. But I guess right now I'm gonna start taking out the water outlets. Antenna tube is gonna have to stay in there. It's just gonna have to get painted, I guess. It's too much of a pain in the neck to get out of the boat, because it's up underneath the deck, and there's an overhang here. There's no way of getting a wrench in there to loosen it up. But and then we're gonna fill. This is the rudder linkage hole, and these were water lines that the previous owner had running in there. He just drilled holes and ran water tubing through there, which is probably why the electronics are all corroded inside. It was probably getting water through there, because I'd imagine when this thing sat in the water, that was probably below the water line, if it was just sitting idle and not running. But just wanted to give you a quick update. I may film some more little clips here and there as I work on the boat. I'm hoping to get it stripped down to the point where I can probably start sanding it either today or tomorrow, or sometime this week, depending on how my life goes. And then I'll have to order some 2K primer. I can't order that until Thursday, but we'll order that on Thursday. Hopefully it'll be here Friday, and Saturday or Sunday we can prime it, and then start laying out designs for it. And I also need 2 motors for it, and I'm not quite sure how I'm going to fix that. Battery tray is okay. This one on this side is split. It's broken. I don't know if you can see it. You need to stop being lazy and stand up. It's broken right in here, and then this part here is broken as well. So I mean, it'll still work, it'll still hold batteries, but I'm putting 6S bricks in this thing. I don't know if I want to even attempt it. So I'm not quite sure what I'm going to do. I don't know if I'm going to cut these out and epoxy in some carbon fiber ones, or what I'm going to do. At this point, I just want to have this as a running hull. I'm not going to be doing any speed runs with it. But the other good news is, remember my Mystic hull I have sitting over here? The struts from that boat fit this boat perfect, as well as the rudder. So at least I got something to measure off of to set that boat up. And again, it's got a really narrow freeboard on it, so I don't know if I'm going to be able to squeeze any big motors in there. I know I've tried a 3674, which is the Turnigy's there. I tried to squeeze one of them in there. It'll fit but it's super tight and it's without the water cooling. So I'm thinking I'm probably gonna have to go with a 26 or a 19 millimeter end bell. But I've babbled for 5 minutes. Oh, that's great. Well, I'll film a couple more clips later on as I work on this. Alright, so we got quite a bit done on the hull today. The TOBSD hull is sanded, it's stripped down. Right now I epoxied those 2 waterline holes that were in the transom, and I'm just waiting for that to set up. I gotta wait 24 hours. It's 2-hour epoxy, but it's been sitting for about 3 hours. It's still tacky, so I don't know if I didn't mix it right or what, but we'll let it sit for 24 hours. We'll pull the tape off the transom and see what it looks like. Might have to do a little Bondo work to make it look pretty, but it's all sanded down. The seams are nice and smooth. You can see the seam, but you can't feel it. And then Project X is over here. Sanded that down, pulled the graphics off it, and figured while I'm doing epoxy, I had to fill a hole in the bottom where an old stuffing tube went through. And since this is going to be 2 outboards, there's not going to be a need for a stuffing tube in it. And then there was an auto baler in the bottom of the transom, and I epoxied that and threw some fiberglass over it. So that's pretty much where they sit. They're going to sit there for the next 24 hours or so. And depending on, I'm not sure what time it is right now, but depending on how much time I have left in the night, I'm probably going to strip war paint down and just go through it, because we ran it yesterday. It did flip upside down, get a little bit of water inside the hull, so kind of want to go through it and clean it up, make sure there's nothing going to rust or anything in there. And step into my paint booth. Sorry, air conditioner's probably loud. That's the TOBSD hull hatch, and then this is the new flat hatch for the Me machine for Project X. So they've been sanded and primed. They're ready to go for paint. And hopefully tomorrow we can pull the tape off the epoxy and sand it and do a little bit of body work and maybe get these 2 in the primer. They may actually have to sit though tomorrow, because I really need to get to war paint and go through it. I don't like letting it sit after we've run it. And I was planning on coming in here and cleaning her up today, but I got sidetracked. So that's probably the project for tomorrow. Is we need to get war paint cleaned up and ready to go for the next run. And then we'll focus on priming the rest of the boats. The good news is the hardware that was on the TOBSD hull will fit this hull. So now my only problem is finding a motor that I can stuff down into the sponson. So now I know those parts will actually fit this boat. I'd love to see this thing fly. This is super light layout. It's a saw boat, so it's not going to have super expensive motors in it, because it's probably going to fly apart if it ever flips and sink. But that's where we're at. Oh, speaking of motors, the Turnigies that were in the TOBSD hull, I pulled them out, pulled them apart, and I spent the last hour cleaning them up. And I hooked them up to the ESC, blipped it, no smoke. I ran them for a good 20 or 30 seconds full speed, no smoke, didn't even heat up. So I guess cleaning them up helped it out. Bearings were good inside, didn't have any problems with the bearings, so put them back together and re-greased the water jackets and slid them back on. And I think we're good to go with those motors. They can go back into the TOBSD when it's ready. This is basically everything out of the TOBSD hull. The stingers, the ESC, servo, everything's out of this thing. So hopefully we can have this boat back together fairly soon. Get some paint on her, make her look pretty, and get it back in the water. See what we can do. Alright, well that's it for tonight. So I guess I'll talk to you next time. Thanks for watching. Make sure you share the channel, subscribe. Thanks for watching. Good night.